you want to learn how to more consistently get fed in your games so you can carry your feeding teammates, then you need to understand and be able to apply this jungle concept that I'm about to teach you. So the concept I'm going to teach you is the path towards the easiest lane to gank. This is so you can find kills more easily, so you can get gold and get fed and carry your games. So as you can see in the background here, we have a Nidalee gameplay going on, and this is Canyon on the EU West server, and you'll be able to see how he applies this concept to his own games to consistently get to top challenger. So let's just pause the VOD here and think about this 3-step process now. Step 1 is going to be to look at your top lane. You need to look at what abilities do both champions have. We have to look at Set, what is his QWE, and we have to look at Pantheon, what is his QWE. So if we look at Set, his Q, he can run towards Pantheon quickly. His W, he throws out a lot of damage. His E, he pulls Pantheon in, right? So we look at Set, he has some setup for a gank, right? He can run at them and pull them in towards us. How does Pantheon escape from that? His QWE. His Q, he throws a spear. His W, he jumps on you and stuns you for a second. And then his E, he walks away with his shield. So he's immobile and he can't really run away. So this lane looks like it's good to gank. Step 2 is that we have to look at our bot lane and repeat the same process. So if we look at Tristana, how can she set up a gank for us? She doesn't really have any CC, so she can't. She can jump in and throw a bomb and do a lot of damage, but she can't actually set up a gank. If we look at Rel, she can jump onto the enemy and stun them. And you know, we need to look at how can the enemy bot lane escape that now. Senna, she has no mobility, but she does have her shadow, and she has a root which she can throw at you if you're trying to follow up. Cho'Gath, he's also immobile, but you have to look at him. He has a silence, he has a knock-up, he slows, and he's very tanky, so it's a little bit difficult to gank him, right? Step 3 is that you've got to look at your mid lane now. If we look at the matchup, it's Sylas versus Zed. So how does Sylas set up a gank for us again? He has his chains, his E. He can on his second one he can root someone momentarily. And Zed, how can he get away? He can use his shadow. So it's a little bit hard to gank because Zed can just shadow away from us. We don't really have really hard CC that's point and click. And if we ever want to gank this lane, it's got to be when they're fighting and Zed has no shadow. So now that you've looked at all of your lanes and decided who's easy to gank, we need to also think about how do we play out the gank? Like, how can we set it up? How can we follow it up? We can see here Canyon is playing Nidalee, so thinking about it, he can only really throw a spear, and if he hits that, he can jump on the enemy. So it's really important for us to be able to layer that on someone else's CC and on immobile targets. Aside from that though, Nidalee isn't very great at ganking. We need setup, we need the enemy to be overextended, or we need them to be extremely low for a successful gank. Anyway, so we've done the analysis and we've decided that top lane is the easiest lane for us to gank. It's the easiest place for us to start a snowball because Pantheon's going to have a lot of difficulty running away from a gank if he's overextended, unlike the enemy bot lane where they can throw slows, throw roots, throw a knock-up at you and run away with their tankiness and their Senna stealth. So we'll just quickly watch over how Canyon clears his camps here and if he gets a successful gank or not in the top lane. One thing I want to point out while he's actually clearing his camps is that he took note of where the rumble started. So here in this VOD you can see we have full vision, but in games you can actually figure out where the enemy jungle started by checking which lane leashed, so who showed up to lane last. So standard full clear here we can see, and looking at our top lane, it doesn't look like it's very gankable right now. The Pantheon's full HP and he's pretty much under the tower, so we're just gonna go for the Scuttle Crab. And oh, look at that, we just see Pantheon right now on 20% health after that big trade from Set. We know Rumble is on the bottom side of the map. This is a free dive. So let's just see how he plays this out here. Hitting the Q, auto attacks in the ranged form, and just look at that. That's a free first blood, just like that. It actually wasn't first blood, but you get my point. He's just going to go for the Scuttle Crab here, he'll reset and go back to his bottom camps, and this is how Canyon plays the game. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, let me know in the comments below if you'll be applying this in your own games now to gain some elo. And make sure to leave me a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want personalized one-to-one coaching, you can check my Discord down in the description below. Just send me a message and we can talk about it, and I'll get you on the path to playing like Canyon in your own games.